Now, before I start, I'm just going to say I did email Simon Miller about this entire review in this video and how I'm going to be doing this. He never actually got back to me, so I'm just kind of doing it anyway. Why am I telling you this? Here's why. And welcome to the Bear's Den, where we are doing RetroMania ups and downs. What are ups and downs, I hear you say? Well, it's when we take the finger of power and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down, and we wear our tightest t-shirt we possibly can. But the game we are talking about today is RetroMania Wrestling. I have been going on about this game for months and months and months, possibly over a year, here at the Bear's Den. And, well, it's finally out, so it's now time to review it. So, let's give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. First off, I have to give the game a down initially. It's nothing to do with the game's fault itself or the developers themselves. They're working very, very hard on this game. But it's getting it down for the staggered release. Because, believe me, it's been disappointing a lot of people, including myself, when it was kind of happening. Initially, this game was supposed to release on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, all at the same time. And, well, it came out on Switch, it came out on Steam. Then a few weeks later, it came out on Xbox. This week, it came out on Nintendo Switch with almost like no kind of announcement giving us a few days or anything like that. It was just out on the day they announced it. And to this day, April 2nd, Friday, April the 2nd, there is still no news of it coming out on a PlayStation. So sadly, it is going to get it down, but let's just carry on with the show and see how I feel about the whole thing, eh? That brings me around to our very first up of the game, and it is the roster. The roster of this game is pretty cool. We have people like Zack Sabre Jr., the Blue Meanie, who does his little dance like this, and we also have just the Blue World Order in general, which is pretty amazing. But then we have the Road Warriors, and it's just very, very cool. I'm really enjoying this roster, and they all have very different moves and very different styles of play. Well, the basic style of play is pretty much the same for every character, but you have different ways to execute your finishes, and they just all look very cool. They have these great little animations. Like, for instance, you have the Blue Meanie punching. He'll stick his tongue out as he does it. It's so quick, you won't even notice it. But if you keep an eye on your character, you will see him stick his tongue out as he's punching people, which is great because that's what he does in the ring, which is fantastic. Although I personally, if I was wrestling, I wouldn't risk sticking my tongue out like that whilst I was, fighting, in fear of biting my tongue off. But that's me. I'm not a wrestler, so who cares? On the roster, there are 16 wrestlers to play with, and there is going to be 3 future DLC characters coming out very, very soon in the form of Chris Bay, that guy from Beer Money, can't remember his name. Honestly, I'm so sorry. And Mr. Hughes, who stole The Undertaker's urn back in the day, who's never been in a wrestling game before, so that's quite interesting. Now it brings me to kind of what I think they should do in the future when it comes to the DLC wrestlers. I personally think they should bring in people like Tatanka. Unless he's on a WWE contract, I think they should bring him in because, personally, he's one of my faves. The Bushwhackers, that kind of thing would be absolutely fantastic. Again, to bring in that retro feel back into this game would be very, very cool. But another thing I think they should do with this game, again, if they got time, if they got time, if they got the money to do so, if this game does well, it all depends on that. If this game does well, depends on the kind of DLC they'll bring in. But I also think as well, originally the game originally was going to be about YouTubers fighting each other. So people like Wood from Beat 'em Ups, Metal Jesus Rock, the Game Chasers, all those kind of people were going to be in this game originally. In fact, they kind of are in this game in one of the arenas, but I get to that in the future. But there was originally going to be these guys facing each other. So if they're going down the route of they want wrestlers in this game that are YouTubers, well, you got Simon Miller himself, who is still a current active wrestler, but currently not wrestling because of the pandemic here in the UK. We just can't do it right now. And Jim Stephanie Sterling themselves, who is the current Rise champion. Res Sterling themselves could be very interesting in this game. And I think it'd be pretty great to do it as well. I really think they would be up for being in this game, and yeah, let's go from there. But another mode they can bring around for DLC, which isn't in this game, purely because it's going down the whole arcade aesthetic, is Create a Wrestler. That's something they are looking at to do in the future. So it's not going to get up or down, it's just going to leave it at that. That brings you around to game modes. The game modes are getting an up, I tell you that much. We have a story mode, we have £10 gold, we have just general exhibition matches which you can make yourselves. You can do tag matches, you can do 8-man tag matches, 6-man tag matches, you can do tornado tag matches, you can have steel cage matches with the classic blue cage. Hell yeah! You can have general like mesh steel cage thing going on as well. There is so much here that you can muck about with and create your own personal type of matches that you want to play with. The game matches are fairly limited in that kind of run, but again, they are looking at in the future to bring something new in the DLC in the form of like table matches and ladder matches. They are at least looking at it. Whether it's guaranteed, we do not know. But the game modes themselves, yes, they're getting up. £10 of gold is fantastic, where you run through the entire roster of the game. The first half of the £10 of gold is you are getting the belt, and then you are defending the belt, and it's very, very cool. I really enjoyed it. That has a great cutscene from Nick Aldis himself, who actually voices part of it as well. And he's there, like, animated, talking, and you can hear him going on as well, which is very, very cool. So yeah, as I said, it's getting it up. One thing with £10 of gold, which is going to get a very small, tiny down, is like a little, like, you know, the 3 above Alien in Alien 3, that kind of little down there, is the fact that when you beat the champion on £10 of gold, Nick Aldis, and you play through, and you go through, and you want to play the £10 of gold again, you don't face off against the character you were when you beat Nick Aldis. So for instance, I played as Blue Meanie, I got through the entire section, and when I went back in, I was expecting to be able to play against Blue Meanie and see some voiceovers, and it just wasn't there. So teeny tiny weeny little down, just for that bit there. But another game mode, which is going to get its own separate up, which is story mode. Now this acts like a tutorial for this entire game. I would fully recommend playing this straight away because it tells you the controls, tells you how to manage this game throughout, because this game is just flipping hard, I'll tell you that much. If you don't know how to play this game, you are going to get your butt handed to you, and these matches are going to go like that. They're going to go super quick, and you're not going to be able to handle it at all. But if you do the story mode, you're going to get the hang of it, you're going to realise what's going on, and the story is basically Johnny Retro himself, or Johnny Nitro, or John Morrison, depending on how you know the guy, but he is coming back off an injury where, I don't want to spoil it here, but he's coming back off an injury where a certain character has attacked him in the past, and now he wants to get back into it, and he's going for the NWA Championship. Now, one thing about this story mode is it does kind of cut short. At one point it cuts short and it says to be continued. So again, it's something I'm expecting to come through in DLC, but the story mode itself is pretty great. You meet up with Steven Richards, you have options to be a heel or a face, which is, yes, absolutely brilliant, and you just get to kind of see an example of this game playing out first off, which is just, honestly, it was really, really great fun. I really enjoyed myself. So yeah, it's getting it up. Now in the story mode, there is part of it that's going to get it down, and that is the cutscenes. As good as they are, which they are good fun, you have these characters talk to you. Again, you've got conversation choices you can take throughout the entire thing. The actual look of these wrestlers is not very clear. It's kind of semi-pixelated, which is a huge, huge shame, because in the promotional material for this game, you've actually seen all these images being used throughout the promotional material, and they look fantastic. They look so good, but then they kind of pixelate the lines and it just doesn't look quite right. Now I thought it was just initially just being on a big screen that I was having the issues with, but even when I had it in handheld on my Switch, yeah, it's still kind of the same thing going on there. So sadly, it's going to get it down there from me. Before I carry on, I just want to read a quote from the story mode when Johnny Retro was in the UK within the story. So it goes like this. You know I've just had it with your trash country's pathetic excuse for food, your ugly women, your backwards accents, and your walking bag of bones you call the Queen. Brown down. The arenas in this game are awesome. They are so good. They're filled full of like little hidden secrets and little hidden Easter eggs here and there as well. At one point I found within there an alien just in the crowd, which is very cool. You have the Too Many Games arena, which is just brilliant. If you are a YouTube fan, as I mentioned earlier on in this video, the original game was supposed to be about YouTubers wrestling each other. Those wrestlers, those YouTubers, are actually in this game, and you can activate the ring to represent those YouTube channels as well, or at least 6 of them anyway, including Jay and Silent Bob More Brawl, which you guys should check out. I've done a review of that. Just check it out below. But basically, you grab your character, you whip him into a table, and say it will change into RGT 85, or it will change into the Game Chasers, or it will change into, or change it to Silent Bob's More Brawl. Jay and Silent Bob's More Brawl. Yeah, it has a really cool aesthetic to it. You can see the characters in the background. If you're a fan of the said characters, you might spot your favorites there. Just generally in the arenas themselves, like for instance, Warhorse has Hell, who he helped, apparently he helped design this arena as well, and it looks wicked. Matt Cardona has his own designed arena as well, which includes the classic WWF original 90s ring that you used to get to play with. And then you can have the blue cage on top of that, and oh, just, yes, the nostalgia just washed over me. You can tell I'm older from enjoying things like that. Whew. In fact, just gonna go down. I'm gonna get out. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. So the arenas are getting it up. Come on. Another up for this game are the controls. The controls are dead simple. You just simply walk into a character to grapple them, you win the grapple, and you press a direction and a button to do certain things. Y to whip them into a corner or into the ropes, and then you hold a button to do, you know, you can flip them over your head or do a DDT or whatever. You can hold down and B, and you can do DDTs, suplexes, you can do German suplexes, you can do backbreakers, you can do all sorts of things that way as well. You can throw them into the corners. Again, it's all very simple, easy controls, and it's just simply a case of figuring out. And the finishes are really simple to pull off as well. You have a momentum meter. You must use this momentum meter to use certain moves as well. So keep an eye on that in the corner of your gameplay. You have a little pink bar that kind of increases over. Once you get to the second bar, you can do pretty much any move in the game. But once it's flashing, you can do your finishes, and they are really simple to pull off. So for instance, as the Blue Meanie, you just kind of, you know, make sure the character's on the floor because you want to be able to hit the character. You quickly run up to the turnbuckle and you hit the strong button, the strong grapple button. So on the Switch, that's A. You do the Meanie Salt, which I did quite often, and I did that quite often off the top of the cage as well because, well, I'm all for the spectacle when it comes to wrestling as well. But yeah, they're really, really simple to do. Another character as well, you can, Jeff Cobb, you can throw them into the ropes, and again, you press the same strong buttons, the same A, and you'll do the island tour. You'll do Tour of the Isles. I almost forgot the name of the move then. You do Tour of the Isles and you smash it down. Johnny Retro, you throw them into a corner again, you hit that same button, and he'll do Stardust, Starship Paradise, or I can't remember the names of any of these moves, but he'll do them and the announcer will tell you these new names. And it's very, very cool. So if I haven't said it already, the moves and the controls of this game, they're getting it up. That brings me on to the presentation and the graphics of this game. The presentation of this game is, again, arcade style, which is just fantastic for me. It's perfect. Just everything about this game is just screams, Stuart, you're going to love this game. Because it's nostalgia, it's 90s vibes throughout the entire thing. It's like you step into an arcade and you play arcade modes. Again, like I said earlier, no creating wrestler. If you had a creating wrestler in the arcade, that's unheard of. It just doesn't happen, especially in the 90s. You just didn't have this kind of thing, and this is what RetroSoft Studios are going for, is the arcade style. And you get to, you know, get these amazing graphics, these pixelated graphics, which is looking absolutely fantastic. And you have the music builds in, you have all these voiceovers, these announcers chiming in, talking about your moves, talking about your characters, saying, is Blue Meanie actually going to win? I played as Meanie quite a lot throughout this, to be honest. It is just a genuinely great looking game. It is built together with pure love for this style of game and for the original WrestleFest, which came out in the 90s, which is a game I've never actually played. I never got around to doing it, and I really wish there was a way for me to do so, and this is the closest thing I've got. And having this game be on the screen, big screen, and then in handheld for the Switch is a huge, huge advantage towards the Switch for picking this game up. If you have all the consoles, I would recommend getting the Switch version, 100%, because again, this is a pick up and play game. You can play a match, you can put it down, you can have this music blaring out in your headphones, or you can just have something on in the background like I did last night. I had Ghostbusters on, yeah, I was playing RetroMania Wrestling on the couch, no problem, and it was just generally great fun. You know, so again, the game presentation and the graphics to this game, it's getting it up. In fact, it's not only getting it up, it is getting the golden up. So there we go, guys, that was my look at RetroMania ups and downs, and I gave it some ups and I gave it some downs. I can't remember what it was, but do not let the downs deter you at all. Some of them are just kind of silly person one. I felt like I should just give it downs, but the one I really do genuinely mean as a down is the pixelated look that's on it. Other than that, this game ran buttery smooth. It had zero glitches. When you had loads of people on the screen, it ran amazingly well as well. But yeah, I'm going to give this game, overall, this game is going to get an up from me, and I would recommend you play it. I personally would recommend you play it on the Switch because, again, having that handheld ability to it is fantastic. The pick up and play mode, it's just so good, and it's having something on in the background while you're playing it. Absolutely brilliant. So guys, that is Bear's Den this week. Don't forget to check us out every Sunday at 12 p.m. Well, at least I tried to. Last week was a bit of an awkward one with the computer going on there, but still, every Sunday at 12 p.m. I'm going to aim to get a show out for you. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We have all our links below. Don't forget to have yourself a nice day, and most of all, don't forget to be nice to each other, yeah?